Pam has basically has always had a deep commitment to community service and the families of San Jose. She was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, and attended the University of San Francisco. In 1987, she and her husband Mike made San Jose their home, purchasing their first house in the Cambrian area before settling in South Willow Glen. She, however, moved to South Willow Glen in 1990. Both her husband and daughter attended Willow Glen Middle and High School. Before entering public service, Pam built her career in the family business. Her father-in-law, Eugene Foley, founded a mortgage brokerage on Lincoln Avenue back in 1957. Pam later took the reins, serving as president, and successfully led the business from its Hamilton Avenue location, right around the corner here, until retiring the company in 2023. Her public service journey began with the San Jose Unified School District Board of Education, where she served as trustee for 14 years. In 2018, she then was elected to represent District 9, I believe, which is this district here, the very district many of us call home, for the San Jose City Council, and was re-elected unopposed in 2022. In January 2025, Mayor Matt Mahan appointed her to serve in the expanded role of vice mayor. Her priorities include public safety, homelessness, housing, and improving overall quality of life, all critical issues shaping the future of our city. Please join me in welcoming San Jose Vice Mayor Pam Foley.
Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure and privilege of mine to be in front of this SIR group. My husband actually is a member of another SIR group, so I know a little bit about what you do and how you're involved, and I look forward to being not a member of this club, but a member of the retiree club at the end of this year. I am in my second term of city council, which means I term out at the end of this year. You can't run for more than 2 terms in the city, and that means I'm retired and going to try and figure out what all that means. I don't know quite what that means. You have a girls' branch? Ladies are what? I don't see any ladies here, except this little one, and she's asleep. Yeah. So, you know, my husband, we closed our mortgage company, Foley Mortgage Company, EF Foley Company, on Lincoln Avenue. We used to be just recently next to Gunther's on Hamilton, and used to come here almost every week for lunch. So I love the Flames, and it's Three Flames, and it's fun to be here. I was in the mortgage business for a lot of years, and during that time, I got involved in political work because my daughter went to Hacienda Elementary School, and at the time, 2004, San Jose Unified was looking at closing schools like it just did recently. It was doing that back in 2004. And one of the schools on the list was my daughter's school, Hacienda, which I didn't want my daughter's school to close, so someone encouraged me to run, and I ran for office against the incumbent, and I won by 112 votes. So I want you to know, I know you all know this. I know I'm looking out at this room, and I know this population votes. So maybe all 112 of you of my votes are right here. I don't know. But it meant that I was on the school board, and I ran for 4 terms until I was able to run for city council. And I have now been in elected office for 22 years. As a school board member, I also was still the owner and broker of Foley Company. That's school board doesn't pay anything. I did get medical benefits, but doesn't pay you anything. So I had a full-time job and worked probably about 50 hours a week in school board work. Once you're city council, that's a full-time gig with a staff, and you actually have a budget where we get paid 150-some thousand, and that's not set by me. I don't get to decide my salary. It's set by a salary setting commission. Every 4 years they meet and decide that. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about the city, and to then answer any questions you have. I may go on too long. I don't know how much time I have. I I love it, so I'm done. Okay, that was great. Any questions? It is. I support parliamentary procedure, although I wouldn't second that motion, at least not yet. Very good. So, truly serving, I love being a mortgage broker. We help people buy their homes. We also had an investment side. Foley, my father-in-law, Eugene Foley, started his business as a way for people to invest in mortgages. So that was his business. I took over that business in 1993. That's when he retired, and then ran it until we retired the business in 2023. My husband and I worked together. We had a small staff of 6 people, including my husband and I, and it was fun. It was a good business, but COVID kind of did us in, and it frustrated, not financially, just took a physical toll on my husband. He was tired, ready to do something else. So we retired the business in 2023, which was the best decision we made. Then I could focus completely on city council, which is more than a full-time job. And then the mayor appointed me as vice mayor last year, which I love being vice mayor. I'm still a council member of District 9, but I'm also the vice mayor. And this year, when he was running for governor, it meant that I assumed some of his responsibilities, not his, I would say not his leadership per se, but I would run meetings on occasion and do a lot of public speaking events that he wasn't able to attend. So I liked that, but he runs a real busy schedule, so I'm kind of ready to go back to being a vice mayor with him going full force, and that's good. Although I was disappointed he didn't make it into the runoff, but maybe he has an opportunity there. I do have, so my roots in Willow Glen are deep. We live in South San Jose. My husband grew up in Willow Glen, went to Markham, then Willow Glen High School. The family business was on Lincoln Avenue for years and years. My daughter, who's now 30, she lives in New York, but she went to Willow Glen High School too. So my roots here are deep. As a school board member, I represented this area. As a school board, and I don't know if I'm following my slides or not. So that's because I kind of go out back and forth, but I think I'm ready. So one thing I wanted to tell you was, one of the things as a city council member, I don't just have council meetings and sit at the dais and listen to speeches and give my own speeches. I'm involved in a lot of committees. I chair the Community and Economic Development Committee. I have for many years. I sit on one of our pension boards. We have 2 pension boards. One is for our sworn officers, police and fire, and the other is for our federated employees, so all our other employees are another part of another pension. I am the city council liaison, was to police and fire for 6 years, and now to federated for 2 years. So I spend a lot of time paying attention to the pension and benefits and things like that. Some of the other things I do is I am liaison to the Senior Commission. We have all these various commissions, and I took on the Senior Commission because seniors are really important to me. So I'm here in front of many of them, and I respect where you are. Truly, I honor where you are, and I honor what you do. You've all worked to get where you are today. We need to be healthy, physically, mentally, socially. Anything we can do at the City of San Jose to help that's what I'm here for. I'm also on the Sports Authority. The Sports Authority is a body that puts together all the sports activities you've been hearing about lately. There's something like World Cup coming on. I hear it's a big deal. That's what people say. But I'll go into a little bit more of that later. Actually, that's probably the most fun committee I'm on because all we talk about is sports and events and activities and fun things coming into town, and and the new women's professional hockey league and things like that. I also do a lot of neighborhood association meetings. I'm gone very much in the evening, often 4 times a night. Moving on to the city. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about my job. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about San Jose. We're the 12th largest city. We just dropped in population, so that put us below, I think, somewhere in Florida, I want to say. But I can't remember which city. Doesn't matter. And truly being 12th, that also doesn't matter. We are the safest large city in the country. That's what matters. What that means is that in the last 3 years, all of the homicides in San Jose have been solved by our police department. That's fabulous. The police chief, Chief Paul Joseph, and his staff, his sworn officers, they do a fabulous job in catching bad guys doing their work. And one of the tools they use is license plate readers. And you may have heard some negative things about license plate readers. There's a lot of guardrails in place for license plate readers, but frankly, they help us catch criminals. Because a criminal drives through an intersection, we get their license plate, and then we have what we call the real-time data center that analyzes the data and is able to deploy police officers and detectives to solve crime. So I am a huge supporter of LPRs, license plate readers, as long as the information isn't being co-opted by other organizations. That's the key, and we have a lot of provisions in place for that to protect the data. That's really, really important. And we only protect the data for 30 days, and it doesn't identify facial recognition or anything like that. It only reads the license plate, and it doesn't, if you're going into a hospital or a clinic or anything like that, a sensitive area like that, we do not have cameras in those areas. So if you're concerned about your privacy is protected. But I will say it is one of the number one tools that we are using right now to fight crime, and that's because we have a small police department. We have less than 1,000 sworn officers, but we only have really about 900 who are already on active duty. That's not a very big number for a million population, but it shows how effective we are and how we have to be effective with technology. Some of the other things, we are a charter city, which means that some of the decisions that we make are bound by the charter and not by state law. The other thing is if we have taxes or increase certain things, we have to abide by the charter. Our employees are bound by the charter in many ways. So the charter, our city charter, is what controls us. Coming up in 2027, we have a couple of big milestones. We'll be a city for 250 years, so there'll be a big celebration next year. I won't be a part of it because I won't be on city council unless they invite me in. And also, one of the other groups that I'm really involved in is the Sister City program. San Jose has a pretty vibrant Sister City program. That's a program where our city is paired with other cities around the world. And we have a couple of really strong partnerships. One of those is with Okayama, Japan. Okayama is near Osaka, and we have had that sister city relationship almost 70 years. It'll be 70 years next year, which is a big, big deal. Sister City program was founded by Dwight Eisenhower as a result of World War II, as a way to create global peace, primarily with Japan and Germany. So many of our first sister cities are with German cities and Japanese cities. Our city, Okayama and San Jose, is the third sister city created in the country back in 1957. Yeah. So I'm proud of that, and I'm very involved in that program. The other sister city we established that is very active is the Dublin San Jose sister city. That would be Dublin, Ireland, and not Dublin, California. Had to say that to some people. They're like, I'm going away to Dublin for a week. Why? For their beer? Guinness? Anyway, we've had that long-lasting relationship, too. That's 40 years. We also have a relationship with Tainan, Taiwan, and Pune, India, and a few others, but those are the most active sister cities that we have. We operate under a strong, no, correct that. We do not operate under a strong mayor system. The person who runs our city is the CEO is Jennifer McGuire, and she is our city manager. She runs the 7,000 employees. City council has 5 employees that we hire. She is one of them. The city manager is one of them. City auditor is another one. The city clerk is a third, city attorney, and then the independent police auditor. So those are the 4 that we have direct authority over hiring, promotions, reviews, that sort of thing. Everyone else, all other 7,000 employees, she is in charge of. So she really runs the plant. She's in charge of the operations. There are over 20 departments in the city of San Jose, and there's probably only a few of real concern or importance to you. I'll get to those a little bit. There's 10 council members. We all have different areas. You can see on this map, here's District 9. Oops, I'm doing this backwards. I should be a weather girl, right? Here's District 9. District 9 boundaries are pretty much Kirtner, roughly, south to Blossom Hill Road, over to Bascom, and then Highway 87. That's roughly what District 9 is. These are all the council members. Each council member has 1 vote, just like the mayor has 1 vote. The difference in the mayor's role and ours, first of all, he's the speaker, the public speaker for many issues, is the mayor, but he also is the one who creates what we call, he creates the budget process. He starts with his March message, then he finishes with the June budget message, and we approve or deny his message based on funding and that sort of thing. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Each council office manages their own, it's like managing their own small business. I have 6 staff who work for me. I have a budget. My budget is the same as the city council staff members' budget next to me. We're all allocated the same amount, and we have to figure out how we're going to utilize those funds. The majority of that goes to personnel. I'm going to say this because Claire's in the room right here. Claire is my communications person. I pay my staff more than anyone else. I'm just going to say that. And I'm really proud of that. It's important. So we run a small business, and when you run a small business, you want to keep the best people on your team, right? And so I make sure that I have the best person on my team. That means we balance the budget. Everything is handled out of a district office. We're really kind of independent. No one tells me what to do with my budget, but it is the taxpayer dollars, so I'm very mindful of how I spend the taxpayers' dollars. As an example, one of the events that I put on every year is called Music in the Valley. It's this huge musical festival that's an all-day event where we showcase performances from our local middle and high school bands. And this year we brought in professional bands with a lot of food trucks and all of that. It's expensive to put on. It cost about $65,000 to put it on. But not 1 penny comes from the taxpayers. Not 1 penny. Because, thank you, because I fundraise for it. I pick up the phone and I dial for dollars. And this year and 2 years in a row, I asked Good Samaritan Hospital, who's the largest employer in my district, to be the premier sponsor for it, and they did. And so they gave me $25,000 two years in a row to be the premier the presenting sponsors. And then, which I'm so proud of and so honored that they would even consider that. And then the rest I fundraised too. So I was happy to cover all the costs, and I'm happy to say it was tax-free. But it was a fabulous event. We had about 6,500 people in attendance. What else do I want to tell you? So at the city, when I first started, we look at our priorities and we think, okay, what's the most important thing we want to do? And it kind of depends on where your council district is, what issues your council district faces. In my district, District 9, I have to say we don't have a lot of issues. We don't have a huge homeless population. Our crime rate is very, very low. A lot of homeowners live there. A lot of retirees. It's an older population. So our issues are things like, okay, there's an occasional package theft. Someone stole a package off a porch. But we don't have a lot of crime in District 9. What we do have is people speeding and people driving recklessly. We have that all over the city. So that's one of my focuses, is making sure that we get people safe and off their streets. Not off the streets. I wish I could get unsafe drivers off our streets. We have 5 focus areas. We adopted that last year as a way to focus in on the things that we do. And when we do that, that means that we tell staff, we want you to focus on these 5 areas. It doesn't mean we're not focusing on core services. So when you look at these 5 focus areas, increasing community safety, reducing unsheltered homelessness, cleaning up our neighborhoods, building more housing, and growing our economy, you don't see libraries on there, but libraries are important. They're core services. They're over here that we continue to fund and operate with and put energy into. These are the areas that we're going to move the city forward by reducing homelessness, by building more housing and making it more affordable, by keeping our streets clean. Makes you happy to be here if the streets are clean, by making it safe. Those are all important. We just passed the budget. Every year in June, we approve the budget. We just did it Tuesday unanimously. This is my 8th budget, and I think it's the first time I've had a unanimous budget. Usually we have some people objecting, so I was really proud of that because I make the motion and I sell the motion and I got it through, and I was really, really happy about that. I'm sorry? The bottom figure on the budget is, in total, we decide it's a general fund. We have general fund dollars that we expend. It's almost $2 billion. The total budget is something like 10 million, 12 million, or billion, but we don't have a lot of discretion over some of those funds. What we do is the general fund. So when we were facing the budget this year, we were facing a $50 million deficit. And we didn't have a lot of reserves, but we had to figure out where we were going to get those balance that budget, because under state law and the charter, we're required to start the fiscal year with a balanced budget. And we did that. So we did that by not cutting programs, by asking all of our departments to be more efficient and reducing some of the things they do. We did not have to lay off any staff, which is good. There were 83 positions that were eliminated. Of those positions, there were only 5 positions or so that had staff in them. Those people will be reassigned to other positions. The rest of them were vacant, that we were set aside and held money to fund if we found an employee to fill those positions. But we closed those positions, and now we have a balanced budget and aren't laying off anyone. Again, the people who are affected by the job changes will be reassigned to other places within the city. Okay. Yes. Thank you. For you who voted in the election, you may have seen the transfer and occupancy tax on the ballot that we put on. It's a 2% increase to those people who are staying in our hotels. It passed by huge numbers. Thank you if you voted for it. If you voted against it, I understand your aversion to taxes, but this was a tool we really needed in order to balance our budget and not close our schools. We don't have any budgetary impact on schools. Not close our libraries or reduce our libraries or reduce the amount of officers, police officers that we had. So with the transfer and occupancy tax, the TOT, that's the tax you pay when you're at a hotel. At the end of the day, you look at your bill and you go, oh, my room was $199, but what's this $30 bucks? That's the TOT. That's a tax. You pay that in almost any city that you go to. And our tax was below market for other surrounding cities and many cities around the country. So we raised it. It has no effect on you. It may have effect on people you bring into the city who stay here. But frankly, I never look at the TOT when I'm staying in a hotel. I look at the top. What's the hotel cost? Yeah, what's the room rate? What's the room rate? I'm sure there are some people who do that. And I know that. My husband, I had to kind of talk him into voting yes on this tax because he's very much, you're taxing me more. When's the last time you stayed in a hotel in San Jose, Mike? Well, never. So. Well, true. I didn't see his ballot, but okay, I'll give you that one. What else can I tell you? There were a couple of things in the budget that were important to me. One was, and it's a small number, last year we funded $300,000 for older adults' health and wellness programs. These are programs provided by third-party organizations like food, like legal services, how to write a trust, things like that, available through our community centers that would have been cut $300,000. That's important to me because our seniors need the assistance, and so I fought for the number. Whenever you have money that you want to add into the budget, are there any accountants in the room? You got to find an income and expense, right? So I had to find a way to pay for the $300,000. I can't just say I want to add this program in. And so the city manager, I told her it was important to me, told the budget director it was important to me. They found the $300,000 within the budget and said it's not going to impact this pot of money. We're going to take it from here. We're going to give you your program. So that was really important to me, and I got that in. For many of you, if you're into history, you may have heard that we were going to close to public access the California room, which is at the MLK Library downtown. We did not. We found the money to keep it open on a one-time arrangement. So for 1 year, it will stay open. We still need to find a way to make it longer term than that. And then some of the other things, there was a lot of public safety items in the budget that were important to me. Crossing guards, people were concerned about crossing guards. We didn't lose any crossing guards. Again, we had vacant crossing guard intersections. We just eliminated those from the pool, so we didn't lose any crossing guards. Let's go on to homelessness. Homelessness, it's an issue actually that is improving in San Jose. We don't want anyone to be living on our streets. It's not, it's inhumane to have people living on our creeks, living on the sidewalks, living in our parks, living on our streets. It's inhumane. So we need to find, let me finish, okay? We need to find an alternative. So one of the focuses we had, and this is over the last couple of years, we have built what we call emergency interim housing facilities that are temporary housing. We take individuals from the streets. They live in these EIHs, we call them. They get job skills. They get counseling. They get therapy. They get a lot of interventions on these sites. And then we move them into the next level, which is an affordable housing project. We have now built over 2,200 units in the city of San Jose. One of them is in District 9, which I advocated to be built. There was a huge encampment on the Guadalupe over near Bass Pro that was very difficult for the neighbors, the housed neighbors who live nearby. And I wanted to be part of the solution to the unhoused. So I encouraged my city to find a solution. They found a solution by entering a partnership with Valley Water, who owns the property along the Guadalupe. Valley Water came in and said, okay, you can use this parcel, and we'll create what we call this Water Resources Protection Zone all the way from Branham down to Blossom Hill Road along the creek. And we did that. We've opened it up. It has 138 residents. It's being operated really well. The neighbors are thrilled. The neighbors never objected. In fact, they helped embrace it and helped bring it in. And it's been good for the unhoused who are now living there. It's good for the housed residents who live across the way and who now feel safe. So it's awesome. And thank you. Those are some of the solutions we're looking at. And now, because that Guadalupe is beautiful in there, we had plans for years to build a trail system in there. We now are moving forward with the trail system. Thanks to Congressman Jimmy Panetta, he seeded our trail money with $1 million designated from the federal budget. So really excited that he saw that need and he committed it to the Guadalupe project. That's one of the things that we're doing. Does that solve the problem? No. We want to get to functional zero. Will we ever get to functional zero? Not until the county steps up and our other partners play their role, because everyone has a role. The mental health services is the biggest piece, and that comes from the county. We don't handle mental health services, but we make sure they're available at all of our sites, whether it's a hotel, whether it's our emergency interim housing. I'm going to skip over the next budget impact and move on to public safety. I think I talked about this a little bit already, that our violent crime numbers are down considerably, and we solve crimes. It's really gratifying to hear from the police chief or my police captain that they've arrested a bad guy. Every time there's a crash in the city, in my district, as a result of a speeder or an unsafe driver, I call up my police captain. I say, hey, can you send a traffic enforcement unit over there to slow down traffic and get some eyes on the street later? He does, and he always is very cooperative to get, unfortunately, write tickets to people who are not driving safely. So please drive safely out there. Please don't drive impaired. You may get a ticket for it. We have funded or approved to fund 1,150 officers, sworn officers. We have less than that. It's been difficult recruiting police officers, really pretty much around the George Floyd time and going forward. It's really difficult being a police officer. But our numbers are starting to increase around the recruitment area. We're pretty difficult to get through. I think we had some retired police officers in here, don't we? So it's true, we have a police department that it's really difficult to become a police officer. You have to show us that you have mental health, that you're, of course, physically capable, that you can handle the job. I don't know how you guys did it. I don't know how you do it. Those people who are police officers, every time I see them, I thank them for the service they do, because that has to be so hard. I also thank their spouses when I see them too, because that is, I can't imagine having your loved one go out to work and then come home and find out they've been shot and they're in the hospital. You heard about that crazy guy who stole the cars in Sacramento, then drove through San Jose down to Hollister, got shot at by the Hollister police. Hollister police didn't get him. Our helicopter was overhead following him. He came back to San Jose. He ended up down in San Jose. Julian got out of his car. A police officer arrived, got shot in the head, and continued. I don't know if you've seen these videos. They're incredible. The police officer who was shot, thank God it wasn't fatal. Because he wouldn't have been able to stand up and move. It was grazed. The bullet grazed his skull. But he was able to continue focusing on this guy, and eventually a lot of police officers responded, and he was shot and killed, and we got him. But that was horrible, horrible. The police officer who was shot went to the hospital, was released like 2 days 2 days later, and he's fine. It's great. Mentally, he may have some issues that he has to work through. That must be difficult. Maybe his wife is saying, honey, you're not doing that job anymore. But, you know, my heart goes out to him and his family. We do have a little change coming up in our police department. I'm not going to belabor this, but we currently have 4 divisions. We are located in what's called the Southern Division. So we have one police captain who handles the Southern Division. It's quite a large area. We're going through a reorganization where there will be more divisions. And the idea is to create better efficiencies, quicker response time for the police officers. That will be unveiled at the end of this year, and we'll see how that goes. One thing I need to back up a little bit. There's two sets of cameras you need to be aware of. One is our, you already know about the license plate readers. We have red light running cameras. Please watch out for the red light cameras. They will give you a ticket, and it's a point against your license. And there's one over at Camden and Bascom, and that intersection has the most tickets that are being issued. And these tickets are being issued not just going straight through the intersection. If you turn right without stopping, you're going to get a ticket. So I agree, because you know why? People don't look right. There's a pedestrian right there, and they hit the pedestrian. That's got to be removed. So the penalty is like $400, $500, depending on whether you're speeding or turning right illegally. The other one, which we will be installing later this year, are speed cameras. These cameras, so we have the red light runners, we have the license plate readers that are already out there and all over the place, and then we have 33 speed cameras that they will get your license plate when you speed through an intersection. The addresses, they will be deployed later this year, and where they will be, you'll be able to know. We can notify you. It's public information. That is not a mark against your license. It is a fine and not a citation. Citation, am I using the term right? I don't know if I'm using the term right. What? The red light goes against your license, the other doesn't. This is a pilot program. The goal is to reduce speeding. Speeding is the #1 cause of fatalities and serious injuries on our streets. So that's why we have 33 cameras. The state legislature approved it a couple of years ago, and we're getting ready to deploy them at the end of the year. Okay. I want to talk about the first responder fee. You may have heard about this fee that we're charging for if an ambulance is called to your home. Please do not call an ambulance because you think you're going to get this fee imposed. It's really important if you need some help that you call 911. What the first responder fee is, and a lot of cities in this state have a first responder fee. It's when a police or a fire engine is called to your home for a certain level medical of emergency. And I'm going to read it because to me, I don't differentiate, but I know the fire department does. It's a paramedic level medical response. I know there's firefighters in here, so they probably know what that means. So that's a higher level. That doesn't mean you call someone and they're checking your pulse and you're okay and they're not going to give you a bill for that. You're not going to get the bill. The way the bill works is that they will ask you for your insurance, or whoever's there for your insurance, the firefighters or the ambulance drivers already do this. Ask you for your license and then or insurance, and then we will bill the insurance. You're not going to see a bill. We may say to you, could you send us your insurance information if we didn't get it? And you may respond or you may not respond. The idea is to offset the cost of these emergencies, which can be expensive, and we need to find ways to balance our budget. We started this fee in January. I have to say it's not collecting nearly as much as we thought it would. There's a lot of problems with implementing this fee. For one, if you have a medical emergency, you're not sitting there with your medical card in your hand. So it's more about, let's save this guy and get him to the hospital than where's your insurance. It's not. Yeah. So I wanted to talk to that a little bit because that was something we implemented, and I had a lot of people, some of my friends saying, what are you doing to us? Your insurance will pay this. We just need to know who the insurance is. We're not really overly aggressive about it, I will say that. So if you have your card, you have your card. I already talked about the cameras. One thing I want to say, road safety is really important to me. I was chair of the Vision Zero task force for years. Our job, our goal was to reduce fatalities to zero on our streets. We're not there. We want to reduce them by 30% by 2040 and reduce them completely by 2050. In order to do that, we need a few things. One, we need to change the configurations of our streets. You may have seen things, infrastructure changes, which you may not like, but it does result on Hillsdale, for example, on Lincoln Avenue as another example. You may not like it because it narrows the street and causes you to slow down, but it causes you to slow down. And the slowing down is what is going to save lives. We have data for the work that we did on Hillsdale to show that the work we did, removing the lane on either direction, number one, did not slow down traffic on Hillsdale as far as the traffic, let me say the traffic flow. What it did is created a safer path for first pedestrians, bicyclists, and people who are walking, but also created a slow down effect that made drivers more cautious, slow down, less crashes, less injuries. And Hillsdale was one of the traffic safety corridors that did have fatalities. So I'm a huge proponent of traffic safety. I do a lot of traffic safety improvements in my district, putting up activated crossing walks around our schools and wherever we can. We're getting ready to install speed bumps at a couple of my streets. Other things that we need to do to slow down traffic. The infrastructure changes is the number one way to slow down traffic. The other is enforcement, but we don't have enough police officers to enforce. And then education. And I know you know that people are speeding all over the place. People are driving dangerously all over. And some of them are moms and dads dropping their kids off at school who are driving dangerously around the schools. I don't know how we get to people. So we put up cameras. We make it more difficult. We have police officers who issue tickets. Another important area is the neighborhood cleanliness. People want to remove the blame. You want the graffiti to be gone. You want the trash to be picked up. We have put a lot of money into cleaning up trash, and we have a lot of partnerships with a couple of organizations whose focus is cleaning up trash ponds, South Bay Clean Creeks, the Coyote Creek Coalition. And then the mayor is really focused on this. So he goes out every Saturday, or at least he did. I'm sure he will. When he was not running for governor, he was out every Saturday cleaning up an intersection or beautifying an area. So this is really important, and it's working. We're starting this new program that we do a lot of graffiti abatement, and we clean it up really quickly. If you report it on 311 or call us and tell you got graffiti, send a picture of it, we get someone out there right away. Where we can't affect it is private property. And you can see private property around this area probably that has some graffiti. So what we're starting is a pilot program where we're going to enter into an arrangement with the property owner that we'll do it. We'll go out and clean it up, but we're going to give you a bill. And it won't be an expensive bill. It'll be the cost of the paint and the labor to do it. And hopefully we can take care of then a private property's blight, because graffiti attracts more blight, and we don't like blight. We want to clean it up. You should all remember or know, how many of you are familiar with our free junk pickup? Free junk pickup. Yeah, so if you're in San Jose, we have a free junk pickup program, and it's the best. There are some issues with it, which we're trying to solve, but so we invested more money in the free junk pickup. For those of you who don't know, but you live in San Jose, you have a big item you can't get rid of. You call up your trash hauler, your recycler, and your recycler will schedule a time to pick it up, usually coordinated with your normal trash day. And you just have to put it out on the sidewalk, and they'll come pick it up. It's really slick. It's really slick. So take advantage of that. Please don't take it and dump it illegally in someone else's yard. That's not what we want to do. 311. Yeah, that's a 311 app. I think I've told you a lot already. This budget, just to finish up the budget discussion, we did balance this budget. We're facing a $26 million budget next year, we know, projected. We have some risks in our budget that we're concerned about. One is we have these game rooms, these card rooms. Club Matrix is one of them, where we actually earn tax dollars. We earn about $25 million in tax dollars from these businesses. The state attorney general has, under pressure from other gambling organizations, wants to shut these card rooms down or change the way they do business. It's not good. It'll affect about 1,000 employees at those businesses, but not to mention $30 million in the city. So what could be an effect on our budget is if it's implemented. There's now, the Attorney General did implement these changes, but there's a lawsuit, and the judge has stopped the implementation of the rules. If they get overturned, then we're okay. If they don't, these businesses they'll go out of business, and we'll lose $30 million. And that means that's a lot of police officers that we're losing. That's the libraries we're closing. That's a huge impact. And then there's property taxes. We all pay property tax. The state is looking at a pot of money that we get from our property taxes and trying to determine whether they should roll back funds or collect funds that they gave us years ago. We hope that isn't the case, because that will be have a huge effect on our budget. Just a brief thing about AI. Anyone using ChatGPT in this room? Few people. Everybody Claude. Okay, Claude. Everybody talks about AI. AI is not replacing our employees. Our employees are concerned about that a little bit. It's not replacing our employees. If we use AI, we will be using it as a way to increase efficiency with our employees. Actually, the police department is looking at a way to use AI to write a draft police report, because it will save them many hours of field time or overtime hours actually to write those reports. So police, of course, will have the final review. It's not implemented yet, but they're investigating the someone who program that will be effective for AI and helping to write police reports. We also are opening data centers in this city. We just broke ground on a Microsoft data center up in North San Jose. We project that these could generate $3 to $6 million a year. Not only is the income important, but they're creating jobs both to build the site and then to high-paying jobs to manage the site. There's a lot of people concerned about this. Environmentalists are concerned about it, as are we. The use of water, the use of power. But we are setting up provisions in place to make sure that recycled water is used where possible. In fact, Microsoft is using recycled water. The electrical grid is being expanded in part to help the increased demand from data centers. We have a whole process that we'll be putting in place, and council will have in December, we will vote on restrictions to these data centers, what we want to see in the proposals, and before we come to that, the staff working on that will be working with environmentalists and businesses and others to figure out how we can do this to not have a negative impact on the environment. I think I'm almost done. Oh no, most important thing, sports. And I'll get to the question. So 2026 is a big year for the city of San Jose. We had the NFL, we had the Super Bowl. We had over 200,000, 300,000 new people to downtown San Jose. Businesses registered huge revenues over that weekend. It was incredible. Then we had the NCAA. We had a lot of people in town for that. Not as many as Super Bowl, of course. And we just started FIFA. First World Cup game in San Jose or at Levi's is tomorrow. We have activities all month long, mostly in the downtown area, but all over our districts. We expect this to generate a huge amount of revenue for the city of San Jose. All of the teams are flying into San Jose. The Paraguay and I forget what other team is actually staying in downtown San Jose. And I think there's a third team staying in San Jose, but not in downtown San Jose. Paraguay is actually practicing at San Jose State. So it's a huge, huge benefit to the city. And I know if you're a soccer fan, you can't wait for that game today against Mexico and South Africa. Is it on right now? What time did it start? I thought it was 2. Oh, darn. Okay, I won't. And a lot of the districts, I'm going to finish with this, a lot of the districts are having their own events. I have my event too coming up, July 3rd. This is will be 3 knockout games. So none of the 3 that are on none of the competitions that are on right now, whoever makes it into the knockout rounds will be some of the 3 matches that we show on July 3rd at Almaden Lake Park. We're going to have food trucks. It's an all-day event. You can come. There's good parking. There's parking. There is parking at Almaden Lake. Yes. Please come by. We have flyers up here. We'd love you to come. Spread the word. Should be fun. Hopefully it won't be too hot, but it'll be good soccer. I'm going to leave it with that. Thank you. Questions? None of our speed cameras will be on the expressway because that is county. No, the pilot program, the speed pilot program approved, I think, 5 or 6 cities to have these cameras. San Francisco's one, Sacramento, us, and a couple, San Diego, I think, and I forget who else. But it's just the cities. I hear you. The conditions on their roads are not good either. I hear you. But they won't be going there. Yes, sir. The use of water is really important, and that is taken into consideration in developments. We don't have any developments going into South County. Actually, we've created Coyote Valley as kind of a protected zone where development can't occur. So if if development occurs, it might be from Morgan Hill heading north slightly. It's a valid concern. I know Valley Water is very concerned about it. We're concerned about it when a development comes into play. Absolutely, it's a concern. As much as use of electricity is a concern. We are constantly comparing ourselves to other cities as it relates to, let's say, staffing. How are we paying our staffs in relation to our neighboring cities? What's the cost of trash pickup in relation to our other cities? That's a constant analysis by staff. I would say that's yes, and actually the city manager has implemented an optimization program to make sure that we're not working in silos, that the staff is working together and being more efficient. It's a good point because government is known for bureaucracy and increased level of bureaucracy. But the city manager and this council and the mayor has really enforced that we need to be more efficient, more businesslike in how we do things, and we need to make sure that what we're doing is the biggest bang for our buck, and if we're doing something that isn't efficient or effective, we should reduce it or eliminate it. So that analysis is ongoing. Thank you. That's great. Yeah, no, the libraries are really important. The community centers are really important for Tai Chi and exercising and health, senior wellness programs. We didn't make any changes to our community centers this year, although a couple of years ago we did, and I fought to get them open to the facilities, and kept the money. And then I'll go over here. Did I get to you already? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's go here then here. Sorry about that. Very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. There are certain things we can do to affect housing. One is we can reduce taxes, which we have done recently, and fees to developers. 2 years ago, we had zero developments having broken ground to build multifamily housing. This year, we eliminated a lot of the fees, and now we have about 2,000 units that are getting ready that ground will be broken on for multifamily housing. We have a lot of affordable housing coming in. It's very difficult. In the budget, one of the budget items was to approve the city figuring out some of the levers that we may be able to pull to lower the cost of living in the city of San Jose, but know that we have very limited effect on some of those things. We don't affect interest rates. We don't affect cost of gas. We don't affect the cost of food. So there are a lot of levers that we have no control over. What we can do is lower the cost of building housing, but then the builders have to, through their financing package, through the cost of land. We have expensive land in San Jose, and then labor costs. Those are the three: the labor costs, land, and materials. Tariffs really hurt. So I hear you. It's a huge, huge problem. Yeah, copper theft was the second question. I didn't hear part of the first one. Scams. Scamming about. Yeah. We actually are. Scamming is a huge concern to me. I worry that the scammers are so sophisticated that they get you on the phone with a voice that sounds like a relative of yours, and then before you know it, you've turned over money to them. It's a serious thing. The police department does have a program for
education on scammers, and we're trying to put together later this year a program for seniors. Seniors will let you know when we have it, but part of that will be educating seniors on how to address scammers, how to watch out for them. The basic bottom line is don't answer
The phone unless you recognize the phone number. Let them leave a message, and they won't leave a message. The other thing, copper theft, that is a huge issue. It affects our light rail. It affects our schools. It affects everybody. The state legislature has some things moving through that will penalize the recyclers more who are taking the copper. There has to be more enforcement, and that's where it has to come from, is the state level. But that's a huge. I got to you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. That is those delineators, that is designed to keep the pedestrian safe during that right turn. But I still see people speed through as nothing. But you're right. That is one way to slow it down. Okay. I don't know anything about that day. Well, I know it. What is that day? It's called Make Music Day. You must know about it. Tell me about it. It's more of an individual thing. I think we pushed it out in our newsletter, and other city council members are pushing it out in the newsletter. I'm sorry I didn't pay attention to that as much. Is it in June? Oh my gosh. I guess I'll have to pay attention. Okay, I think we're almost at the end of my time.